Okay, in lesson 2, we talked about how we add integers when we have both positives and negatives. So in lesson 3, we're going to talk about subtracting integers. Our key to remember here is to add the opposite. And when we say opposite, we mean change the sign. So in our first example, 5 minus negative 2. We're going to keep the first number exactly as it is. We're going to change subtraction to addition, so we're adding. Then I want to add the opposite, so the opposite of negative 2 is positive 2. So 5 minus negative 2 is the same as 5 plus 2, which we know is 7. Okay, take a look at this next example. Negative 6 minus 3. Again, we keep our negative 6, change subtraction to addition, and then change the sign of our 3. It's currently a positive 3, so it's now a negative 3. So negative 6 plus negative 3. If you remember from yesterday's lesson, we can either think about our number line, or we can think about how many negatives do we have. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 negatives, plus 3 more negatives. None of them cancel out, we have no positives. So together we have negative 9. Right, our next one, negative 4 minus negative 4. Now notice this negative 4 is in parentheses to show that it's negative, not two minuses. So keep negative 4, change that to plus. Negative 4 becomes positive 4. So negative 4 plus 4. If you need to write your signs, go ahead and write them. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4 positives. Cancel that pair, that pair, that pair, that pair. We're left with nothing. So this is another example of some additive inverses. So that gives us 0. And our last example, negative 3 minus becomes plus. Negative 1 becomes positive 1. Negative 3 plus 1. We have 1, 2, 3 negatives, 1 positive. Cancel that pair, we're left with 2 negatives, so negative 2. Again, you could use your number line if you need to, or eventually you'll start to pick up on what some of the rules are so that you don't have to keep writing the signs like this. Alright, now that we've done a little bit of practice with subtracting integers, we want to talk about distance between two numbers. So for this, we're talking about our number line. We want to find the distance between the integers on the number line. So 0 and negative 5. If I go from 0 to negative 5, what is my distance? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Distance is always positive, so our distance is 5. So using your number line, actually plotting it and counting, that's one way that we can do it. So if we look at number 2, the distance from negative 8 to positive 8, using our number line, if we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Our distance is 16. So we have 8 on the left of our 0, 8 on the right of our 0. We're on opposite sides, so we're really adding our absolute values there. So distance from negative 8 to 8 is 16. So number 3, negative 9 and 4. For this one, I'm going to show you a different way to do it. In case if you don't have a number line, or don't feel like making one. Our distance, we could think of as the absolute value of the difference. So the absolute value of negative 9 minus 4, negative 9 plus negative 4. Now if you think about this, we're adding 2 negatives. So that would give us the absolute value of negative 13. If I'm adding negative 9 and I have 4 more negatives, we're moving to the left. So negative 13, absolute value of negative 13. Review from lesson 1. The distance from negative 13 to 0 is 13. So the distance from negative 9 to 4 is 13. Okay, and number 4, the distance between negative 3 and 7. If we think about this the same way, we have the absolute value of negative 3 minus 7. So the absolute value of negative 3 plus negative 7. Same idea as over here. They're both negative, so we can add them together Negative 3 plus negative 7 gives us the absolute value of negative 10, which is 10. Okay, so two different ways that you can think about this. Either use your number line, draw a quick number line if you don't have one, or think about the absolute value. There's some other tricks that you can use to think about that. We'll see if you guys can come up with any of them. If not, just think about these two different ideas. Alright, one more problem for this lesson. Tom saved up $250 to spend on vacation. If he spends $45 a week for 4 weeks, how much money does he have left? So we started with $250. Go ahead and underline that. Then he spends $45 a week for 4 weeks. So if he's spending money, we want to think, is he adding money to his account or is he taking money away? Well, if he spends it, he's subtracting it. So he's taking money away. Now, how much is he taking away? Well, $45 for 4 weeks will be 4 times 45. So $45 for 4 weeks, we're going to multiply those, and then we're going to subtract that from 250. So if we do some quick math here, we know multiplication comes before subtraction. Remember your PEMDAS. So 250 minus 180. 250 minus 180, make sure you're showing all your steps, just like normal. Gives us 70, and we always want to remember to label. So $70 left. If he started with $250 and spends $45 for 4 weeks. All right, guys, that is the end of lesson 3.